Would you agree that decisions made by your parents or grandparents influenced your life? But what about decisions that your ancestors made tens, hundreds, or even thousands of years ago? They did too. Let's travel back in time, 2,000 years ago. The Roman Empire is at its peak. The Romans are building cities and growing crops to feed armies and emperors. Imagine Maximus Decimus, or Russell Crowe in the movie Gladiator, saying, "Brothers, what we do in life echoes in eternity." Oh, he was so right. The decisions that those Romans made 2,000 years ago are still affecting our environment today. I call these land use legacies. So what is the land use legacy of the Romans? Well, the Romans farmed their land, and when they did so, they tilled the soil, they removed the plants that grew there, and planted their own crops. And today, the trees that grow on those fields are very different than the trees growing on land unfarmed by the Romans. And it wasn't just the Romans. Other societies changed their environment in very similar ways. The problem is that as past societies change their environment, they create limitations to how we can now use or benefit from that land. And that is important because the potential of our environment has been reduced so much that we now struggle to find those places where we can most efficiently grow food to feed the increasing planet's population, or where we can most effectively protect nature in order to save species from the brink of extinction. So in order to find out where past societies changed their environment and where they created limitations to it, I compare the most amazing maps of empires from hundreds of years ago with the latest technology of satellite imagery taken from space. I find out where people changed their environment in the past, and I figure out how those actions affect environmental change today. And I find legacies everywhere. For instance, in 18th century Eastern Europe, where I'm from, the Habsburgs, they planted trees where there was no forest before. But the trees that they planted were spruce, and they acidified the soil so much that almost no other plants can grow there today. They also cleared other land for farming. Little did they know that today we'll struggle with the fact that land that has been farmed for a century is much harder to revert to wild nature than land that has been farmed for only a decade. And this is all important because it's not just fascinating, but we can now understand the limitations in our environment and thus make better land use decisions. With this information in hand, you and I can make sure we leave a better legacy for the generations to come, because like Maximus said, what we do in life echoes in eternity. Thank you.